All right, everybody, welcome to episode 18.
18.
Yeah, 18 of the deep dive. Today, we're going to dive deep into an incredibly well-known and popular story.
Oh, yeah. It's wild.
One that's got twists and turns.
Yeah.
And really makes you think about.
Makes you think of...
Like, what would you do in this situation?
Yeah.
And also, like, the nature of good and bad.
Oh.
And how those lines can get really blurry.
Especially.
Yeah, and so today we're going to be talking about Breaking Bad.
Oh, Breaking Bad. Yeah. It's a show that really
It's a show.
Yeah, it's a show that you could watch like 5 times and still get something new out of it.
Totally. I mean, I've seen it, I think, all the way through at least 3 times, maybe 4.
Yeah.
And every time I do, I'm like, wow.
Yeah.
There's so much there. And we're gonna try to hit some of the high points and like see what we can pull out of it in terms of like your own lives.
Yeah, what it means to be human.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like what does it mean to
be us?
Yeah, to make these choices.
Yeah, to be alive.
To be alive, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think it's really interesting to start with like this idea of change, right? Because the show is ultimately about transformation, yeah, and like how do we change? Who are we? How much can we change? Like are we always changing?
Right. Are we the same person that we were 10 years ago?
Right.
Are we going to be the same person in 10 years?
Yeah. And so what happens in the story is you have this character, Walter White. Yeah, he's like the most
everyman.
He's the everyman. Like you couldn't pick a more average guy, right?
Right. Just a high school chemistry teacher. Like totally normal?
Totally normal.
Got a family, got
problems. Got a disabled son.
You
know, he's got a wife.
He's got a lot going on, but like
he's got a normal guy.
He's just trying to make it.
Yeah. And then bam, life throws him a curveball. And I mean, a major one,
a death sentence, basically.
Yeah, terminal cancer. Yeah. And so you would think okay, that's going to put things in perspective. You're going to, maybe spend more time with your family.
Yeah, get your affairs in order.
Kind of
tie up loose ends.
Yeah, make amends.
Yeah.
But for Walter, it's almost like it unlocks something.
It's like a permission slip almost.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like all of a sudden it's like, I've got nothing left to lose.
Right.
So what if I do all this stuff I've always wanted to do or
or thought about.
Yeah, or been too afraid to do.
Yeah.
Because
he was kind of living this like very, buttoned up life.
Totally. And he's brilliant, right?
Yeah, he's a brilliant chemist.
Yeah.
But he's sort of like underachieving.
Yeah. And it's interesting too cuz like the way that he chooses to provide for his family.
Yeah.
Is through chemistry.
It's through the study of change, right? Like it's literally how do you take something and change it into something else? Transform it.
Yeah.
And that's what he's doing with his own life.
Right. And it's like it becomes this metaphor for his own like personal.
Absolutely. It's like he's taking all these raw ingredients of his personality and his experiences and his intelligence and he's cooking them up into this whole new substance. Heisenberg, yeah. Yeah, like you can't talk about Walter White without talking about Heisenberg. Right, they're like 2 sides of the same coin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's almost like a superhero or like a supervillain origin story.
Yeah, it's like a Clark Kent Superman kind of thing where it's like, is this the real him or is this just a mask?
Right. Is this who he always was underneath?
Right.
Or is this...
Or did the cancer
create this?
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the things that's so...
I think it's both.
Fascinating about the show is it doesn't give you an easy answer.
It doesn't, It makes you like...
Think about it.
Yeah, is Heisenberg just an exaggerated version of who he always was?
I think there are elements of Walter White that are always present in Heisenberg.
Right.
Right? And I think what the writers did so brilliantly is they give you these little hints.
Yes.
Like early on.
Yes.
Like in the very first episode.
Right.
There's this moment where he's at this car wash and he's like cleaning the cars.
Yeah. And he's obviously like overqualified for this job.
Yeah.
Like he's a brilliant scientist.
Right. He's washing cars.
And there's this moment where these like
these teenagers
like kind of disrespect him, and you see this like flash of anger in his eyes, and it's just like a split second, but it's like, whoa, like is that Heisenberg like peeking out, you know?
Right. And so there are those moments where you're like, wait a minute, like is this a new thing, or is this just him like
amplify?
Yeah, like turning up the volume more on parts of himself.
Right. And the other thing I think is really interesting is the way they use his backstory.
Yes.
You know, like we get these glimpses of his past.
And his childhood.
And like there's this one moment where he's talking about his father, and he's like, I don't really remember him that well, but I remember this like
this rattling.
It's a rattling sound, like an empty spray paint can, and you're just like, what?
Like, what is that?
What is that? What does that mean? And it's never fully explained.
Right.
But it's like this little clue that there's something deeper there.
Some trauma there.
Some trauma. Some like unresolved issue that he's carrying around.
And so I think that's one of the things that like makes the show so compelling, is that it's not just about this guy who cooks meth.
No.
It's about like...
It's about who he is.
Yeah. What makes him tick?
Yeah.
What are the things that have shaped him?
Right.
And how those things like...
And how does he justify?
How do those things come out?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then there's this whole other layer of like...
The moral ambiguity.
Yeah.
Right.
It's not a clear cut.
Because he starts out...
Good guy, bad guy.
He starts out and he's like...
I'm doing this for my family.
I'm doing this for my family.
I have to provide for them.
Right.
But then it very quickly becomes something else.
It becomes about him.
It becomes about him. It becomes about power. It becomes about
power.
Control. It becomes about ego.
Ego, yeah.
Yeah.
Like he wants to be the best.
And he's good at it.
He wants to be the best at something.
Right.
And he finds that he's really good.
At being a drug lord.
Yeah. Which is terrifying.
It is terrifying. And the show doesn't shy away from that.
No.
Like, it shows you...
It shows you the consequences.
The consequences of his actions.
Yeah.
It shows you the people that he hurts.
Yeah.
And it makes you really question, like...
Like, is he a monster?
Is he a monster? Yeah. Like, is
he redeemable?
Is this somebody that we can even sympathize with?
Right.
And I think that's another thing that makes the show so brilliant, is that it keeps you guessing.
It does. And I think one of the things that really highlights that is... his relationship with Jesse.
Oh, yeah, Jesse Pinkman.
Yeah.
Yeah, talk about a
complex character.
Yeah. Because on the one hand, he's like...
He's a meth head.
He's a meth head.
He's a criminal.
He's...
a screw up.
Yeah, he's not a good guy.
He's not a role model.
Right, but he has this like...
He has this heart.
He
has this conscience.
Yeah. That Walter seems to be lacking.
Yeah, and he's actually, like, more moral than Walter in a lot of ways. Even though he's like...
He's like a drug addict.
Yeah, the so-called degenerate.
Right, yeah. And you see this, like, over and over again, where Jesse will be like, we can't do this.
We can't kill this person.
We can't kill this person. This is wrong.
Right.
And Walter's like...
We have to.
It's for the greater good.
Right. It's for the business.
Yeah, and he's always able to, like... manipulate Jesse into
doing what he wants.
Yeah.
But it's like Jesse's the one who's always carrying
the guilt. You
know, and I think
and one of the best examples of that is Jane.
Oh, Jane. Yeah, that's like
Jesse's girlfriend.
It's like the turning point of the show in a lot of ways.
Lets her die.
He lets her die.
He
could save her.
He could save her, but he doesn't.
But he chooses not to.
And you see...
It haunts him.
It haunts him, but it haunts Jesse more.
It haunts Jesse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because, like...
It's like...
Jesse's the one who's supposed to be...
Right.
The screw-up.
The drug addict, right?
Yeah.
But he's the one who's like...
I can't live with this.
Right. Like, this is too much. I have to make amends.
Right.
I have to...
Change.
Yeah.
Well, Walter's just like... I'm going to bury this.
Yeah.
I'm going to compartmentalize.
Suppress this. Yeah. And we see that in that really weird episode with the fly.
Oh, the fly episode?
Yeah, where he's like losing his mind.
Yeah, he's like obsessed with this fly.
Yeah.
And it's like...
And it's like a metaphor for his guilt.
It's this like...
He can't escape it.
Yeah, he can't escape it.
Yeah.
He's trying to like...
He's trying to swat it away,
but...
But it keeps coming back.
Yeah. Yeah, and so I think that's...
And what's so interesting about that is that...
It's like one of the things that really makes you think about the show.
Yeah.
Is that Jesse...
He finds a way to
He finds a way to forgive himself.
He does evolve.
That he does grow.
Yeah.
And Walter's
just digging himself deeper.
Walter just keeps doubling down.
Doubling down.
Yeah, and so their relationship is just so fascinating to watch because
it's messed up.
But it's also so
but it's also like there are moments of genuine.
There are moments where they really care about each other.
Yeah, where they really care about each other.
Yeah,
and then there are moments where they're trying to kill each other.
Yeah,
and then there's that final scene.
Where
they just look at each other.
And
then like everything is said.
In
that look.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that's one of the things that like makes the show
so powerful.
Is that it's not afraid to like
leave things
unsaid. It's not afraid to
let the audience fill in the blanks.
Yeah.
And so I think that's, one of the...
It's a show that respects its audience.
This makes it so, rewatchable.
Very watchable, yeah.
And
because you're always catching new things.
Yeah, you can always find something new.
Yeah. And we've been talking about Walt's transformation and Jesse's journey, but we can't forget about Skylar.
Skylar.
Yeah. Yeah, she gets
a lot of hate.
From fans.
From fans, but I think she's a really interesting character.
I think she's a fascinating character.
Yeah.
Because
she's put in this impossible situation.
Yeah. Like her husband suddenly this meth kingpin.
Yeah.
And she's like, what?
And she's trying to
protect her family.
Right. She's trying to protect her family.
Yeah.
She's trying to protect herself.
Yeah.
And she makes some questionable choices.
She does.
But I think a lot of it comes from a place of
desperation
and fear. Yeah. And so I think she's much more...
I think she still loves Walter.
Yeah.
On some level.
She's a much more sympathetic character.
Yeah.
Than I think a lot of people...
She's given credit for.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think it's interesting to contrast her with Walter because she's also going through a transformation.
She is.
But her transformation is more about surviving.
It's about adapting to this crazy... reality. Yeah. Whereas Walter's is more about
he's choosing his transformation.
Yeah.
He's choosing to become this other person.
He's leaning into the darkness.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that's another thing that's...
And there's this moment where he finds out his cancer's in remission.
Oh, yeah.
And you think...
You think that's it?
Oh.
He's going to
He's going to go back
to being normal Walter White.
Yeah.
But it's almost
But it's the opposite.
It backfires.
Yeah. He's like, no. He's like...
I'm Heisenberg now.
I'm Heisenberg.
This is who I am.
I'm the danger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's that's the point of no return.
Yeah.
There's no going back from that.
And I think that's one of the things that makes the show so, tragic is that you see this guy and
so much potential.
Who had a family.
Who had a good life in a lot of ways.
He had a good life.
Yeah.
And he just throws it all away. For this,
illusion.
This illusion of power.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it all comes crashing down in this,
spectacularly.
Yeah. In the Ozymandias episode.
Oh, Ozymandias. That's the best episode of television, one of the best episodes of television ever.
Yeah.
And it's just this...
It's a gut punch.
Yeah, it's this
It's brutal. Yeah, it's this
It's like watching a car wreck in slow motion.
Yeah. It's like watching everything fall apart.
And you can't look away.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's heartbreaking.
And it's inevitable.
It is inevitable.
Yeah. Because, from the beginning.
And then in the final season, he's lost everything.
He's lost everything.
He's lost his family.
His family's gone.
His money's gone.
His empire's gone.
His empire.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he's just this...
He's a shell of a man.
Yeah. And there's this one scene where he's talking to Skylar.
Yeah.
On the phone.
And
he finally admits.
Yeah.
Why he did it.
When he did it?
And he says,
I liked it.
I liked it.
I was good at it.
And I was
alive. And it's just this
chilling.
Yeah, it's this
admission.
Yeah, this
that it was all about him.
Yeah, it was all about his ego.
Yeah.
It wasn't about his family.
It wasn't about anything else.
It wasn't about anything else.
It was about feeling alive.
Yeah. Feeling powerful. Yeah, and it's just this really dark truth about human nature.
Yeah.
And then he goes back to the lab. And he dies.
In this place where he was reborn.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's this
weird sense of peace.
On his face.
He's finally at home.
It's he's finally come home.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so it's just this
It's a tragedy.
This incredibly tragic.
But it's also like
a cautionary tale.
Yeah.
About the dangers.
About the dangers of
ego,
of power,
of ambition.
Yeah. And it's just like this amazing exploration of
human nature.
And I think it's a show that like
that will stay with you.
Stays with you.
Yeah.
Long after you've seen it.
Yeah. So I guess the question is like, what do we take away from this?
What do we take away from this? Yeah. What do we learn about ourselves?
What are our own death sentences?
Yeah. What are our own moments of transformation, and how do we
choose?
How do we choose to
respond?
Yeah. How do we choose to respond to them?
Yeah. That's the question.
Yeah. Well, thanks for joining us for this deep dive into
Breaking Bad.
Breaking Bad.
Yeah.
We'll see you next time.